Hello, my dear friends. Today we are meeting for our 134th Voice of the Ecosystem, and today we will be joined by a representative from the Blockless project.
Hi, Bujian.
Hey, Val.
So let's start. Let's begin. Welcome to our community call. As you may know, my name is Vali, and today we really glad to have you on our community call. So in case someone doesn't really familiar with your project, could you please introduce yourself in like a couple of sentences?
Sure, yeah. Happy to be here today. Thank you so much, Vali. So I'm one of the co-founders of Blockless. Blockless is building tap compute that draws compute from browsers, allowing everyone to automatically contribute compute power as a shared resource for the world.
Just wanted to say that I already feel that my browser is already being used by someone like for a couple of like months. I don't know, like it's just overloads my computer.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how powerful consumer devices are these days. Just to give you an example, some of the mobile devices in terms of the chips and how powerful it is when it comes to running machine learning models, it's already more performant than some even servers.
All right, so just shed some light on it.
Yeah, sure. So what Blockless does is basically using the browser as the user interface. What I mean by browser is basically when you open a tab or download a Chrome extension, and you'd be opting in to provide your compute resource, namely the CPU, GPU, RAM, and bandwidth to verifiably power applications, mainly decentralized applications, and then getting fairly compensated for providing such compute resources.
Well, could you please repeat the last part? So I will provide some compute resources to decentralized applications and?
Yes, and you be fairly compensated, meaning that you're getting paid for contributing such resources.
So interesting. I would like to know, am I able to opt in from my, for example, mobile phone or my like iPad or like any other devices rather than my laptop, for example?
Yes, it is possible. So Blockless is WebAssembly based, meaning that technically speaking, any compute devices that can open up a web browser can theoretically contribute compute resources to the network. So we first opened up laptop or computers access for consumers to verifiably contribute compute to the network through the Orchestrator campaigns that we are currently running. It is a web tab that users first access to kind of like a treasure hunting game that we introduce as a demo application. Once users are on the game page, the web page itself, they are already automatically contributing their compute while they're playing the game, hosting and powering the next person that comes online.
You know, but like, how does it work when I just connect to some specific tab, and how do I like contribute? Like, I do not sign any transaction, or like I do not connect any wallet, or how does it work? How could I know that I contribute something? Or maybe other, for example, products do the same. How could I like know that some application uses my like bandwidth or like any other resources of my compute power?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like Uber matchmaking platform that we are doing for compute resources. So on the supply side, we draw compute from consumer devices as well as professional server or like bare metals. And we run an automatic matchmaking algorithm. That's our orchestration algorithm on chain that match suitable hardware devices to run the application workload. And in order to make sure that it's secure, right, for both the supply side, the node resources, as well as the demand side, the applications. First, we have a secure sandbox environment. And on top of that, we have verification mechanism, namely off-chain verifications like dynamic consensus, zero knowledge proof, to make sure that workload are successfully executed.
Interesting. Just wanted to clarify or try to understand better for the translation. So basically, you have some algorithm that looks how to match some specific compute power from one devices and provide it to some purposes which will be matched. So, for example, this computer cannot provide any meaningful compute power for this specific application, so it wouldn't participate.
Yes. So the automatic orchestration algorithm essentially only involve the qualified hardware for a given workload. And based on the workload hardware consumption, like CPU, GPU, bandwidth, RAM, those qualified hardwares are involved in a roll call. And there is a automatic randomization in terms of which hardware is actually selected for executing the workload. But it will not exceed the maximum capacity of the hardware.
I see. So it's like, you want to say that like blockless chain itself is like an orchestration mechanism for matches compute power and providers, something like Akash, but works a little bit different. So it's or Airbnb for compute power. Various different devices could jump into. It works simpler.
Yes, kind of like Akash, but we're taking it one step further. Instead of a marketplace model where compute consumers have to negotiate with the compute suppliers, we're all doing that behind the scene. So as a developer or as an application, you don't have to really worry about whoever is running your application workload. You just have to declare first, we kind of provide a serverless compute experience in a sense. So you have to just deploy your workload, and then based on the workload, the network generates the hardware provision. And based on the hardware provision, the orchestration mechanism automatically matchmake between the compute resource and the workload, kind of like you said, the Airbnb model, to improve the efficiency in the matchmaking process and the overall process for both the compute resource provider and the applications.
I think it's very interesting. So I will try to translate the rest. And in case you have to show something for example, the application, how the process of how we could join, you could also share the screen. So as I said, I tried to compare Uber and Blockless. to find some similarities. Like, for example, when we push the button in Uber, it tries to find the best option for us, like closest car. So for example, in case we have some workload from like any purpose, we, for example, could ask it from like Blockless chain, and it will find some providers which connected by the like using this application. So they connected to the process. They provide some computational resources, and Blockless matches those who asks and who like provides, right?
Yeah. On a high level, that's what happens.
All right. Anything else interesting is here? So I'm really curious. How could I like just participate? For example, I have a spare laptop. How could I provide some computational power? And let's continue on how can I participate as a computational power provider?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now that you can participate in our testnet, I can drop the link in the community channel. I just shared the link also with my referral code. Basically, anyone can contribute compute just by opening up the webpage. We try to use this as kind of like a demonstration of how users can easily contribute compute to the network just by being online. It's very simple. And using this game, basically what it says is that users need to manually orchestrate compute workload by allocating the workload through the map and finding the available workload. And of course, this is kind of what's taken care behind the scene by our orchestration mechanism. But as a game, that's what it kind of shows people as part of the interaction. And just simply by connecting your wallet, if you click the join the network, and then you can connect your wallet.
So it now asks to connect to the EVM compatible chains, right?
Yes.
Generate my passcode,
So
like
if you
anyone.
just create your custom passcode.
All right.
And this is not stored anywhere else. It's only for your own access. So you can just create a password and it will locally generate the combination along with your private key to gain access to the network.
So, and what can I do here?
Yeah, so this is basically like a game page.
Sorry for interruption, but like just I already participate in the, like I already provide some computational power.
Yes, just by being on the web page, you are contributing compute power through your tab. And for the sake of game, basically you select the available workload here. You can also change the map on the top. Yeah, you see those workloads are already completed. You just have to find, as we can see, the community are quite, they're quite kind of on the cutting edge of contributing compute. They have completed majority of the maps. But as a participant, you just need to find the map that still has some available workload, and then you can mine those blocks.
But what in case it doesn't have? Like, how to find any like new? Let's say there are 25. Workloads. Let's do it this way. Oh, I found, no. All right.
These days, the maps are going quite quickly. Once there are new workload, basically, we update the maps on a regular basis. You just have to follow our announcements, and sometimes once it's refreshed, there are new workloads released to the community for mining.
All right. Oh, I see. For example, this one.
Yeah. See.
So I just have to click on it and do nothing else?
Yes. So once you click on it, there should be a prompt. It says it's processing, right? Yeah. And then you just got to wait for it to process. And then you can mine for either positive rewards, and in some cases, there might be some surprises.
Wow. So I don't need to click anything, right?
Yes.
Just select
so once it's processing complete, yes, you will get the prompt there on the panel here that shows you the information, and then you'll just have to follow with the rest of the steps.
All right, I see. And so where we shall follow the announcements?
The announcements, yes. So I shared our Twitter, and this is probably the best place to start. And community members can join our Discord, keep posted on the latest status.
Right. All right. And now we can see that 328 persons are providing some computational power, right?
Yeah. Just for a start, the tap compute is, I'd say, the easiest way for people to contribute compute power simply by just opening a tab. And we will introduce a Chrome extension node, basically by installing a Chrome extension or web browser extension. And then users will be contributing compute to power continuous or long-running application workloads.
All right. So in the future iterations of Blockless, what actually is the consensus name?
Yes. So we run off-chain compute consensus that is dynamic. You could think of it as the most simple example being Oracle, right? So based on the workload, we have those modular consensus, including, say, PBFT, Raft, or simple aggregation. Or in the case of one node executing a workload, you can also run zero-knowledge proof. And developers have the option to choose whichever is more suitable for the type of application workload, and select that. And based on the consensus mechanism, the network will make sure that the required number of nodes participate in executing such workload and form the consensus. Or in the zero-knowledge proof example, the execution result is submitted with a proof, attaching the proof for verification purpose.
All right. Am I correct that consensus is dynamic and the chain is modular in general, and it's like Blockless is itself, it's like an Oracle.
Yes, kind of like you explained, right? The innovation in the Blockless technology is basically enabling the type of workload to be done full stack decentralized, verifiable, that traditionally cannot run on chain. Like Oracle is a type of workload that is traditionally not able to run on-chain, right? Some other examples for off-chain verifiable computing use cases are, say, running a large language model, an inference model, or some sort of real-time processing that either require intensive compute or external data sources, or just general purpose computing, right? The blockchain can only consume deterministic executions. By leveraging the off-chain compute network, we can basically run any kind of internet scale compute tasks and still do that in a verifiable and decentralized manner.
I see. So actually, for me, it's like super complicated to to explain without proper visualization. So it will definitely take time to digest the information.
Or I'd say in a very simple fashion, I put it as, kind of like an oracle, but more flexible than an oracle. The consensus is dynamic. It's modular. And on top of that, basically developers can define the business logic, and you can run any type of general purpose computing in a verifiable way.
All right. So I just said to community that we really need to check the light paper, because I cannot really interpret it in Russian, because even in Russian maybe I wouldn't be able to as a spark just like this and oh, I understood now. Unfortunately, but I will definitely provide some compute from my browser in this testnet. So would any participants of this testnet be incentivized in future, or this is non-incentivized testnet? And if not, when we can expect the mainnet version?
Yeah, that's fair. I think, so first off, this is incentivized, and users can also just invite their friends to participate. And what's cool about it is that based on the referral and also your friends' work consumption will also be counted as part of your reward. And for some of the partners, the communities, amongst those partner communities, for example, Lido and some of the other Cosmos ecosystems, we're also giving a booster to the community participants. And this is just really a start. And soon we'll be introducing the Chrome extension node. And of course, the early participants will have the compensation for getting in early. And we really look forward to getting more people to contribute their compute resource to the network, and then providing really this open and fair access for developers, users of such compute resources throughout the world.
Exciting. Sounds really promising. All right. So, and how for how long current testnet is goes?
Yeah. So for the tab node, it will run until we introduce the Chrome extension node, and then once we test everything out, making sure that there's no any kind of issues with the network, we will launch the mainnet. And yeah, I'd say for now you can follow us through Twitter and Discord to get the latest update. On top of the web node, for institutional node operators, we also provide another way for them to participate in the network. And you can just reach out to me to get more informations about ways to contribute to the network.
And we have a question from the community member. So there are some privacy concerns about the extension. So basically that, for example, Chrome browser and its extensions collect some data and stuff. And so those who, for example, asks for the computational power, are they okay with that? Like the Google will have like all the information about them, and how does it work? Is there any like privacy or?
Definitely, yes. So everything is end-to-end encrypted, and using Google Chrome extension is basically the first iteration of the user interface for drawing compute resources. It works essentially the same as a Docker image, and everything is executed through the secure sandbox. And what runs within the secure sandbox, right? Basically the developers or anyone else will not have a direct access to the user information.
So question is like, for a fully encrypted computation, you must encrypt all the data on your side and send this encrypted data to another party. Then it should decrypt the information, then make a computation, then encrypting again and send back like something like this. And but for the from the knowledge of Alexander, there is no technological way to solve this, like for now, or did you solve it, or like maybe I didn't explain it in the right and correct way. Like just maybe we can clarify this.
Yeah, so there are a couple layers when it comes to security and privacy. The secure sandbox is one of them, and then on top of it, we have the end-to-end encryption, just in time. Compelling and the execution, and also multi-party computation when it involves some of those sensitive data, and all that comes as a result for secure and private privacy reserved execution when it comes to leveraging the computer resources for executing decentralized workload.
Okay, I will try to deliver it. But for example, for now, I will ask Alexander about his concern. Alexander, do you still have your concern or not? In order to explain it another way, so for example, we all have, for example, encryption and such on our site, and we send it in an encrypted way. But the concern is about the extension which will be installed for all participants of the network. So the Google, like via this extension, potentially might have all this information. Do you understand like the mind flow?
Yeah, the main concern that extension will have access for all data proceed on a user's computers and then collect it all together, because this data, when computer computed, is not protected. You see, it's not secured. But extension can access the data, and Google Chrome has access to extension data, and it will send it to Google servers and collect it all together. I'd say this is the question.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying. Basically, well, we do want to have a fully decentralized way, whereas it doesn't involve any centralized parties like Google to collect any user data. Like it's still kind of a industry level problem to solve. And we are on the process of figuring out, how we can move forward given, the current adoption with the browsers. And the blockless technology is not dependent on Google or any centralized providers. For users that have concerns with Google, they can also just participate by downloading the Docker image directly to run a node. And for the majority of the mass majority, right? We want to make it very accessible for people to participate in the network. And the Chrome extension is just one of the ways, one of the user interface to participate in the network. And I do want to emphasize that because Blockless is WebAssembly based, and we run this WASM runtime, and everything that is executed or transmitted is through this binary executable. And it is compiled just in time when the workload is run. And this is really, given the resources that's available on the market, right? We've done is basically to make sure that in terms of user privacy and security, this is what is currently available to guarantee the kind of user privacy and security in a way that works for the current state.
All right. I see.
Sorry, can I ask another question? Like, if you said there will be standalone application as well, which will more secure, of course. But in case the computer has viruses, so how to provide a security in this case then? If the virus can access actually the processing data on the computer itself, even without the Google or extensions.
So in the case of virus, basically like malicious access to the secure sandbox, right? There are a couple guarantees. First, there is the dynamic consensus, meaning that, in terms of the application, the execution result is fault tolerant. And even if one of the node is attacked per se by the virus, it will not affect the result of the execution. This is kind of, the same for, you can think of it as like an oracle as the kind of example that solves this fault tolerance issue. And in terms of the node, the hardware, right? I'd say that if the computer has a virus, of course, it's like something that's not the blockless network specific. The user will have to address this issue at some point. WebAssembly is by far the most secure runtime that we can base off for isolating the execution within this secure sandbox environment. And it can limit the impact of the potential vulnerabilities. Even if an attacker managed to exploit the WebAssembly module, it is still confined within the sandbox, and they are unable to compromise the host system.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say that I just dropped our documentation link. And if there's any more questions about the technical details, that is a good place to find some of the answers.
All right. There is like one question, like what's the key purpose of the blockless to let's say to marry those who want to provide compute and those who want to run some, or is there any other purpose? But so one of the community members didn't get the point.
Mm-hmm. What we are truly enabling on an industry level is the type of applications or use cases that you cannot build leveraging pure on-chain compute, right? To give you a couple examples, you cannot run undeterministic executions on-chain or compute-intensive tasks. Running a large language inference model is one example, or executions that require external data like oracles. So all those are what we see as those verifiable off-chain computing are really powering and supporting the industry to have more varieties of use cases. And that would essentially solve not only the scalability issue, the performance issue, but also to extend the service boundaries of blockchain networks to have the varieties of applications that we've seen within the internet, right? So Web3 as an extension of the internet, it introduces decentralization and decentralized ownership. And what we are doing is simply to take it one step further and really allowing people to be part of this decentralized web as both the provider of compute and also to be able to create full stack decentralized applications that leverage both blockchain and off-chain computation.
It's cool. This is like a to have another piece of like Web3 Lego, which is like currently missing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like the way that you put it.
All right. I think this will be last question because we already took like plenty of your time, and thank you for joining us today. The question is, could you compare Blockless solution with any other different services? Like maybe yours is quite similar to some like well-known service to simplify comparison for the community. Like for example, something but with a twist, like kind of. If there is any. Mm-hmm.
In terms of the bigger verticals, I'd say we live in between deeping and off-chain verifiable computing. So some of the similar projects are with, for example, the Grass network that also leverage the Chrome extension. But what they do, it's essentially focused on the data piece, while we focus on general purpose computing. And then on the developer side, leveraging the Blockless modular application framework, it essentially solves the off-chain computing, like for builders to easily, streamline the development process. From that sense, we kind of compare ourselves with some of the developers' SDKs. Like in terms of the experience, it's very similar to what, say, for example, the Cosmos Tendermint is providing for building blockchains, whereas we're doing that for building the off-chain part of the stack. And in terms of the overall vision, I'd say some other projects that we've seen are trying to do the same in terms of leveraging the off-chain computing resources. Are I think recently the what Arweave is trying to do with AO, right? And some of the other players in the space that are leveraging the option computing are like chain-link functions, for example, are some of the similar, visions that we are driving towards for like a full stack decentralization.
All right, and this is like the very last question I have. So where rewards comes from for those who provide some compute power?
The reward basically is for the incentives that comes from the consumers of such compute resources. So those are applications, developers that are utilizing the network.
Can we say it's like B2B solution?
Yeah, I kind of see it as a consumer to business, so C2B models. Well, the C side is like everyday devices, some of them are higher grade, like professional node operators. But majority of it comes from the like everyday devices, everyday users. And those people are getting compensated for contributing their hardware compute resources for running someone else's applications or microservices, as that's kind of more like a Web 2 term, right? And it's kind of similar to how centralized cloud providers work, right? In terms of the customer's side, the client side that consume those cloud resources, except that now we're kind of democratizing the provider side of the business for anyone to be able to tap into this network.
And it's like no like KYC, KYB or anything like required for now?
No, it's permissionless.
All right, I see. Thank you. I just said that one of community members made a short explanation. For example, if you order some resources, you pay for them. If you provide some resources, you get a reward for this. Like in 2 words.
Yes.
All right. This was really good. Still need some time to digest the information because there is there are not like a DEX, like you come here, you make a swap and that's it, like connect a wallet and stuff. This is like more complicated solution, especially if it's about infrastructure, if it's about having various different species which are interacting like with each other, like many parts of the solution. Very interesting solution, and some of one of users said that very interesting, like let's say invention, and in case if you will make it to the like will be released as a product like fully in the mainnet, will be very interesting and good. And I'm just curious. There is a always changing amount of nodes participating. When I joined the website, it was around 300, and now it was like 200, 2,800, and now it's 100 and 1,600. So it's like very so much during the
dynamic.
Short amount. Yeah, it's quite dynamic. So thank you for joining us today. If you have anything to like say to our community, like whatever, like if you have anything, please feel free to share. Let's like wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great pleasure for me to join today, and thank you for everyone that is participating and asking those questions. And I'd say that but the vision for Blockless is always enabling community really we are all about, think about how do we really expand the Web3, the kind of things that we can do within the industry, and also expanding the ways for people to access and be part of this ecosystem. So being able to enable full stack decentralization is one thing that we've seen. It's meaningful for not just Web3, basically for us as people, as we all are trying to, kind of march in to the next stage of the internet that entails more open and fair access, not only to the technology itself, but also to the ecosystem, the economics involved in the technology. So this is really where we see as like Blockless is making an impact.
Okay, thank you for joining us. It was really a pleasure. In case you will have anything else to add, please send us with links. And if you have anything to provide, I will add everything to the video description later. And once again, thanks for joining us. And I just want to leave one last comment. I mentioned that you have very, I would say, powerful thing to grow. It's like a referral program. It's really easy, and it's very accessible for a regular user. So you could just share the link, person just opens the link and do nothing, no installation or anything, and he just participates. That's really a powerful tool as I know, as I can see.
Exactly. Yeah. We try to lower the barrier to entry for anyone to be able to tap into the network. Yeah. Thank you so much, Valentin, for translating everything. Yeah. And it's also a great pleasure for me to be part of this community call with Posthuman.
One ultra last question. Is there any video tutorial how to participate in the network, or not yet, or it has to be produced?
Well, we have some tutorials right now, mainly for developers. We try to introduce more consumer educational materials. So I'd say stay tuned for those to come out. Right now, the Orchestrator campaign is quite kind of simple for people to get to know about the network in a more interactive approach.
All right. Thank you. I think that we will be happy to contribute and provide some more tutorials for community, not only for developers. Yep. And thank you. We will switch to Russian now.
Yeah, thank you so much.